The first time I saw her, she was crying in the rain outside a 7-Eleven at 2 in the morning, and I almost kept walking. Almost, because that's what we do, isn't it? We see pain, we feel that uncomfortable tug in our chest, and we tell ourselves it's not our problem. Someone else will help. Someone better equipped. Someone braver. Someone who isn't already drowning in their own mess. But something about the way she held herself, her shoulders curved inward like a question mark, hands trembling around a soaked paper bag, made me stop. And that decision, that single moment of hesitation that turned into action, changed everything. Her name was Maria, though I wouldn't learn that until later, much later. In that moment, she was just a stranger in a threadbare coat, standing under a broken streetlight that flickered like a dying heartbeat. I was 3 months behind on rent, my car had been repossessed the week before, and I'd just finished a double shift at the hospital where I worked as a janitor. I had $17 in my pocket and a long walk home ahead of me. I had every reason to keep moving, to preserve what little I had left. But I didn't. "Are you okay?" I asked, immediately regretting the stupidity of the question. She clearly wasn't okay. Nobody cries in the rain at 2 a.m. because things are going well. She looked up at me with eyes that held an ocean of exhaustion. "My daughter," she whispered, her accent thick and beautiful. "She needs medicine. The pharmacy, it closes. I don't have enough money." I don't. Her voice cracked, splintering into pieces that the rain tried to wash away. I should have given her a few dollars and walked away feeling good about myself. That would have been enough, right? That would have been more than most people would do. Instead, I found myself saying, "Show me the prescription." The medicine cost $63. I had 17. The pharmacy wouldn't reopen until 9 a.m. Her daughter had a fever of 103 degrees, she told me, and she'd left her alone in their motel room because she was too sick to bring out in the cold. Maria had walked 4 miles to this pharmacy, only to discover she'd miscounted her cash. I made a decision that probably wasn't smart. I took her back to that motel room, a place that made my cramped studio apartment look like a palace. Her daughter, Sophia, was 6 years old with flushed cheeks and eyes that barely opened. I'd seen enough sick kids during my hospital shifts to know this wasn't something to mess around with. "We need to get her to the I said. "No money," Maria replied, her voice small. "No insurance. I work at County General. I know people. We'll figure it out." I called Marcus, a nurse who owed me a favor after I'd covered for him last month when his kid had a school play. He met us at the emergency entrance at 3 a.m., and somehow, through a combination of paperwork magic and human decency, Sophia was seen by a doctor. Bacterial infection. She needed antibiotics and fluids. She'd be okay. But the story doesn't end there. It never does it? Because kindness isn't a transaction. It's not a one-time thing you check off your list so you can feel good about yourself. It's a seed, and sometimes, if you're lucky, you get to see what grows. I visited them twice over the next week, just to check on Sophia. Their motel room was temporary, Maria explained. They'd come to America from El Salvador 6 months ago, fleeing violence that had taken her husband's life. She cleaned houses when she could find work, saved every penny, dreamed of getting Sophia into a good school. She spoke about the future the way other people speak about winning the lottery, with desperate, fragile hope. On my 3rd visit, I brought groceries. Nothing fancy, just basics. Rice, beans, bread, peanut butter. Maria cried again, but differently this time. "Why?" she kept asking. "Why you help us?" I didn't have a good answer. The truth was, I'd been where she was once. Not exactly the same circumstances, but close enough. When I was 19, my mom died of cancer, and I dropped out of college to take care of my little brother. We'd been homeless for 4 months, living in our car, surviving on the kindness of strangers who had no reason to care about two scared kids. Someone had helped us then, a social worker named Janet who went far beyond her job description, who fought for us, who believed we were worth fighting for. Because someone helped me once, I finally said. Winter turned harsh that year. The kind of cold that seeps into your bones and makes you question why humans ever thought living in this part of the world was a good idea. I started stopping by their motel more often, sometimes bringing dinner, sometimes just sitting with Sophia while Maria worked late cleaning offices. The kid was smart as a whip, teaching herself English from library books, drawing pictures of a house with a garden that existed only in her imagination. Then everything fell apart. The motel was sold. New owners, new rules, new prices. Maria couldn't afford the increase. They had 2 weeks to find somewhere else to go, but in a city where rent prices seemed to climb every single day, 2 weeks might as well have been 2 minutes. I lay awake that night in my own tiny apartment, staring at the water stain on my ceiling that looked like a map of somewhere better. I thought about Sophia's drawings. I thought about Maria's hands, worn rough from work and worry. I thought about my brother, who was in college now, making something of himself because someone had cared enough to help us when we needed it most. I made another decision that probably wasn't smart. You can stay with me, I told Maria the next day. Just until you find something permanent. She stared at me like I'd spoken in another language. Your apartment, it is small. We can enter. The couch pulls out. Sophia can have it. You can take the chair, and I'll figure something out. It's temporary, just until you get on your feet. What was supposed to be 2 weeks turned into a month, then 2. Maria found steadier work through a cleaning company, started saving money in a way that was actually possible when you weren't hemorrhaging cash on overpriced motel rooms. Sophia enrolled in the local elementary school, where her teacher called her a joy and remarkably resilient. I slept on an air mattress on my bedroom floor and pretended it didn't hurt my back. But here's what I didn't expect. I didn't expect to come home from my shifts to the smell of Pupusa's cooking. I didn't expect Sophia to start calling me Ta and hugging my legs every time I walked through the door. I didn't expect Maria to learn my favorite tea and have it waiting for me after long nights. I didn't expect to feel less alone than I had in years. 3 months in, Maria came home with news that made her hands shakier, but this time, from excitement. She'd been hired for a full-time position with benefits at a hospital across town. The pay was good, really good. Good enough to start looking at apartments in safe neighborhoods with decent schools. I never forget this, she told me that night, after Sophia had gone to sleep. What you do for us, I never forget. You save us. You saved yourselves, I said, and meant it. You did the work. I just gave you a place to land. But she was right too, in a way, because she'd saved me as well. She'd reminded me that I was capable of being more than my worst days, my failures, my fears. She'd shown me that sometimes the best thing you can do with your own pain is use it to recognize someone else's. They moved out on a Saturday in April. Sophia cried. So did I, though I tried to hide it. Maria pressed an envelope into my hands. The rent money, she insisted, for all those months. I tried to refuse, but she was adamant. You let me keep my dignity, she said. Now you let me give back. Inside that envelope was every penny I'd spent on them and more. But that wasn't the gift. The gift was the note, written in Sophia's careful handwriting. Thank you for being our angel. Love, Sophia. P.S. You can visit us anytime. I did visit often. I watched Sophia grow taller, watched her confidence bloom in a stable home with a mother who no longer had to choose between medicine and food. I was there when Maria became a citizen, when she cried tears of joy holding that certificate like it was made of gold. I was there when Sophia won the school science fair, when she graduated elementary school with honors, when she told me she wanted to be a doctor someday so she could help people like I'd helped her. But the story still doesn't end there, because last week, I got a call from Marcus, that nurse from the ER. He'd been diagnosed with stage 4 cancer, aggressive, expensive. His family was drowning in medical bills, facing the same impossible choices that Maria had faced years ago. I knew what I had to do. I called Maria. I called Sophia, who's in high school now. I called a dozen other people whose lives had tangled with mine over the years. We organized a fundraiser. We shared Marcus's story. And the money came not from wealthy donors or corporations, but from ordinary people who understood what it meant to need help, who remembered what it felt like to receive kindness when they needed it most. We raised enough to cover 6 months of treatment. Marcus cried when we told him, "I don't deserve this," he said. "That's not how this works," I replied, thinking of Maria in the rain, thinking of Janet the social worker, thinking of every person who'd ever extended a hand when they had every reason not to. We don't help people because they deserve it. We help because we can. Because we're human. Because someone helped us once. Her name was Maria, and she was crying in the rain when I met her. But she taught me something that I carry with me every day. We are not meant to walk through this world alone. Our struggles connect us. Our kindness multiplies. And sometimes, the smallest act of compassion can ripple outward in ways we never imagine, creating waves of hope that reach shores we'll never see. I think about that rainy night often, about how close I came to walking past, to minding my own business, to protecting my small reserves of money and energy, about how differently my life would look now if I had. The truth is, I didn't save Maria and Sophia. We saved each other. Because that's what humanity is, not grand gestures or heroic sacrifices, but the willingness to see someone else's pain and say, "I can't fix everything, but I can do this one thing." It's choosing connection over convenience. It's believing that we are all worthy of help, all deserving of dignity, all capable of both giving and receiving grace. Her name was Maria, and she reminded me that the most powerful thing we possess isn't money or status or security. It's our capacity to care, to show up, to offer what we have, even when it's not much, even when it costs us something, even when we're scared. And that capacity, that beautiful, terrifying, world-changing capacity to love each other through the darkness, that's what makes us human. That's what saves us all.